In 1972, Raymond Bober decided to buy Summerwind, the old house his daughter Ginger had previously lived in but had fled, claiming it was haunted. He tried to break the news to her gently.
Buy that place. Are you crazy? Don't you remember what happened there?
I was so angry.
I mean, I know you...
I said, why did you do that?
I'm talking about the spirits there.
By that time, I was a little tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, ghost, I'm sure. Yeah, right on.
You can't buy that place. Are you crazy?
He said, it's okay. Ray needed a project.
You're talking about spirits. It's just...
They got a project, all right. They got a real project.
No, I'm serious, Dad. You can't buy that place.
I found out from my mom, and I was angry. Because I didn't want him to suffer.
You'll have bad luck, too.
Ginger, come on.
That place possessed its own evil. And I knew it as a 9-year-old child. And what 9-year-old child would know that? I did.
As Ray set out to renovate Summerwind on his own, he sought help from local contractors, just as Ginger had.
Initially, their response was, oh, not a problem. We'd be glad to do it. As soon as I would mention where it's at this old mansion out on the lake, their attitude would change completely. Oh, well, we're way too busy. Maybe we could look at it next year, possibly. We don't usually handle projects of that size. I got that 2 or 3 times and I just gave up.
Ray's first day of work ended without incident. But that night, he thought he heard bears growling.
What are you doing home so early?
Lawnmower broke.
When I got home, I just told them, well, I broke the lawnmower, I broke the chainsaw, I couldn't get anything done. And I'm home. That's it. That's end of story. I didn't tell them what happened. I didn't tell them what I had seen.
It's just not working. I'm just home, all right?
It was clear to Raymond that something had gone terribly wrong at the house. And the fact that Ray refused to talk about it disturbed his father. Raymond decided to visit Mrs. Murray, the woman who'd sold him Summerwind.
Tell me something about the house.
Before selling it to Ginger, her husband had purchased the house from its original owners, the Pattersons. He asked about the history of the house. Mrs. Murray said that in the early 1930s, the Pattersons' servants had complained that the house was haunted. But nobody believed them, including their employers. One night, the couple was at home, finishing dinner. The Pattersons reported that the shots seemed to pass through the strange presence. Mr. Patterson and his wife left that night and never returned.
When you're talking about ghosts and spirits, what measurements do you use? You don't use, there's no textbook really on ghosts and spirits. You're talking about a dimension that nobody can really pinpoint or figure.
Okay, look.
Despite the story, Raymond continued with his plans to renovate Summerwind. He eagerly showed Ginger the blueprints he'd commissioned for the work.
Can be convinced what a great idea this is. We're going to make the
As Raymond explained his vision for the old house, Ginger's brother grew increasingly nervous.
whole place a resort area, and this is the grand ball.
Ginger could see that something was wrong. She had been studying hypnosis and suggested to her brother that she might be able to help him to stop biting his nails.
You're kidding. All right, get over.
No, I'm serious. I mean, I don't know.
Good, just humor us. Let's get it done.
Ray agreed to give it a go.
Okay.
My sister held up a pen in front of me and told me to concentrate on it. As soon as I started getting a little bit droopy, she put me into like a half asleep state, and the next thing I knew, I was asleep.
She was talking in generalities, general things to relax him. And then she was talking about the mansion. And I remember my uncle's leg shaking, and shaking really hard, and I remember thinking, he's afraid. And his voice changed.
I am strong. I am strong.
Ray, where are you?
He was no longer my uncle anymore. He was somebody else.
Ray, where are you?
And I was looking at him going, answer me, Ray. Where are you? Talk to me. Where did you go? Strong.
Ray.
My children.
Where did you go? Ray, talk to me.
Ginger?
Where did you go? Ray, talk to me.
Ginger feared she'd unleashed something beyond her control.
I am strong.
The cross and the power of this cross releases.
She commanded the spirit to leave.
Give us a say or Julie.
You all right, Ray?
I felt just a slight bit of a headache, but everybody in the room around me was in shock.
Granting you the power or something. What was going on?
What?
Don't you remember?
No. What happened?
My father was probably the ultimate skeptic. He tried to dismiss it all as overactive imaginations.
We recorded it, man.
Play it back.
On the tape, it was very frightening, very demanding voice, and very angry voice, and made statements that he was very old, that he despised weakness of any kind, despised his children, of which I had none.
He said, I had 7 children and they are all weak and I am very strong.
Unable to explain what he'd just experienced, Ray finally revealed what had happened at Summerwind.
When I was back at the house, I mean, that's why I left. I was working.
I was upstairs in the hallway. I was totally alone. There was nobody around.
Who's there? Hello? Hello?
I was just stunned.
Ray was sure that he'd heard 2 gunshots coming from downstairs.
Went into the kitchen and thought I smelled gunpowder. Dismissed it, looked around, saw no one. It had just rained the night before. There were no tracks around other than mine. Couldn't imagine somebody shooting that close that could disappear that quickly. At the door leading to the basement, I noticed 2 holes. And I knew they were bullet holes.
Ray thought the bullet holes looked like they'd been there for many years.
I was rattled. I had seen the bullet holes. I had smelled the gunpowder. I had heard the voices. I was the kind of person, I didn't believe in ghosts. I didn't believe in the spirit world. I thought that was all hogwash. That was good Hollywood stuff. Everybody likes a good ghost story. But actually having one happen, I didn't know exactly what was